One to one and all. Today we will discuss about Gauss-Markov theorem. So, which is in our first module. So, this is the last topic in the first module. So, before knowing that Gauss-Markov theorem, I think you might have learned about the assumptions of a classical linear regression model. So, whatever I explained in the previous classes. So, that you should have to remember before to study that Gauss-Markov theorem. So here the Gauss-Markov theorem. So here there are two persons. The Gauss is one person, Markov is another person. So both the persons, they have framed or they have written a theory. So that is called Gauss-Markov theorem. So what Gauss-Markov theorem says that, see, as we noted that, as I pointed out, that the given assumptions of classical linear regression model, that is a CLRM, shortcut CLRM, the least square estimates, whatever we are going to use, that OLS method, that is called least square method, possess some ideal and optimum properties. For example, when we are doing some OLS methods, so we need to follow some certain assumptions, certain properties. So these properties are contained in the well-known Gauss-Markov theorem. For example, when we have some assumptions, when we have followed some properties, when we have followed that properties, that if we have followed certain properties, that is called Gauss-Markov theorem. So especially in the Gauss-Markov theorem, we should understand that this theorem we need to consider the blue. Nothing but, so whenever we are doing a problem by using the OLS method, so we need to follow certain assumptions, as well as we need to follow that blue. The blue is nothing but best linear unbiased estimator. Best linear unbiased estimator. So here, what is blue? Then we can come to know that. So for example, when we have certain assumptions, some properties, when we have followed that properties in the particular OLS methods, that is called Gauss-Markov theorem. Gauss-Markov theorem. So we have certain assumptions are there, around 6 to 7 assumptions of classical linear regression model. When we are going to estimate some OLS methods, so when we are going to estimate the OLS method, we need to follow certain properties. For example, autocorrelation, heteroscedasticity, multicollinearity, and linearity also. So we need to follow certain properties. So among them, if we follow the blue property, that is called best linear unbiased estimator. When we have followed this kind of properties, that properties, when we are following the properties, the theory comes under the theory is Gauss-Markov theorem. Gauss-Markov theorem. So in order to understand this theorem, we need to consider the blue. That is called best linear unbiased estimator. See, in generally we have studied statistics in the first and the second semester of your MA course. So when the Gauss-Markov theorem states that OLS estimator has a lowest sampling variance. For example, as we have studied that in the basic of statistics, the properties of blue or properties of OLS, we have been studied in the first semester and second semester. So here, when the estimator who can estimate the values of the particular data set who got a minimum variance, the person is called a good person. We can say the good estimator. Here also see the OLS, the Gauss-Markov theorem states that the OLS estimator has a lowest sampling variance within the class of linear unbiased estimator. When the person has got a lower variance or minimum variance, along with that, the person should have to be the linear unbiased estimator. At the same time, not only got the minimum variance, he should have to follow a linear. He should have to maintain the linearity in the parameters, and he should have to be unbiased. So we can come to know what is linear and what is unbiased. And if the errors in the linear regression model are uncorrelated, for example, see when errors are correlated. For example, see when we have studied about the assumptions of error term also. See if the errors are uncorrelated, so what will happen then? And I have equal variance and expectation value of 0. For example, see when we have studied the assumptions of error term only, we can come to know that. So what is the relationship between the errors if the one error is related to its previous error? Then, James Davidson, in his book of Basic Econometrics, he told that the Gauss-Markov theorem is a famous result. That the least square estimator is efficient in the class of linear unbiased estimator in the regression model. For example, as James Davidson told that this theorem is a famous, which will give the good results in the wireless estimator, is efficient in the class of linear unbiased estimator. For example, when the estimator has followed a linearity and unbiased and the minimum variance, so that result will give the best results. That is called, the theorem is the famous result, nothing but which will give the good results compared with the other OLS estimators when we have followed the blue properties. The efficiency of an estimator is a property that its variance with respect to sample distribution is smallest, nothing but minimum in the specified class. For example, whatever you are going to estimate a data set, so when we have followed the minimum variance, when we have got the minimum variance, the person is called a good estimator. So as I told you that in the first semester, there is a coefficient of variance. So here, see, I told you that the minimum variance is a good one. Nothing but minimum variance is nothing but he has maintained a consistency. Okay, the person is a good estimator. Those who followed or those who got minimum variance, the person is called good estimator. Also, I told you that. So in the James Davidson, he told like that. And in another words also of him, some powerful and useful properties of the ordinary least square method estimator have been demonstrated. For example, say when we are estimating some OLS method, we can follow certain norms, that is, certain properties. But sometimes we cannot follow the blue properties also. There are some exceptions. When we have followed strictly of the blue properties, so which will demonstrate also, but they depend on the model being correct. For example, the blue properties depends on the being correct and complete in the specific ways described. For example, in what way they are going to describe. So that is the main thing when we are using the blue properties. And if you take into account in the Damodar Gujarati book, so in his book, he is told that given assumptions of CLRM, there is a classical linear regression model, given assumptions of CLRM, the least square estimators in class of unbiased linear estimators have minimum variance. That is, they are blue. So same, more or less is same. The James Davidson and Gujarati. So both are said the same meaning, but the way of expression is very different, little bit different. See, so whatever we have studied that assumptions of classical linear regression model, the least square estimators in the class of unbiased linear estimators. So he has mentioned unbiased and linear estimators, which will have that minimum variance. That is, they are blue. Nothing but see, when the person is unbiased, linear, and minimum variance, the person is called good estimator. So, and another point, the Gauss-Markov theorem tells us if a certain set of assumptions, see, whatever certain assumptions, nothing but the classical linear regression model assumptions are met, the ordinary least square estimate for regression coefficients gives you best linear unbiased estimate. For example, say when the wireless method and Gauss-Markov theorem, see, so as I told you that when we are estimating the wireless method, ordinary least square method, so we can follow certain norms. For example, when the Gauss-Markov theorem, what it says that, so when certain assumptions are made, for example, the assumptions are only 4 with regard to the Gauss-Markov theorem, or the 4 or 5, when are met, for example, when the 5 assumptions are met, nothing but when we have followed the 5 assumptions, which are correct when you are doing the model, when you are doing that estimate the values, the ordinary least square estimates for regressed coefficient, whatever we can get the beta value, alpha, beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, the coefficient values, which will give the best linear unbiased estimates. One thing, but whatever you are going to get the alpha value and beta value, so that values are the best linear unbiased estimator. Okay, when we have followed a blue property, when we have followed the blue properties. So there are 5 Gauss-Markov assumptions. See, when in order to follow that, whether our model, whether the person, the estimator has followed Gauss-Markov assumptions or not. So we can come to know what are the 5 Gauss-Markov assumptions. So first one, linearity. What is linearity? So in the blue, there is a L for is the linearity or linear. We can say that. So linearity, see. So we can discuss about the blue also in the later, but we can see the linearity. So the parameters we are estimating using the OLS method must be themselves linear. What is linear here? When we are following a certain assumptions or properties, so the estimator should have to be linearity. So when they are going to estimate the parameters or coefficients, that should be the linearity. Nothing but the power value is equal to 1. When we are writing the equation, see, when y is equal to alpha plus beta x1 plus beta 2 x2, there is no power of x. See, when we are following the power of x, that is called non-linearity. When you are following that, when the power of x is equal to 1, that is called linearity. So when we have studied about the linear functions or non-linear functions, see, the power value is equal to 1, that is called linear function. When the power value is more than 1, it is called non-linear. Whether it's a quadratic of a function or a cubic function or polynomial functions. See, when in order to follow the properties or assumptions of Gauss-Markov theorem, the estimator should have to follow the linearity. The parameters what we are going to estimate by using the OLS method, that should be the linear. The power value should be equal to 1. Then I will give the example in the next slide. Then non-collinearity. What is the non-collinearity here? See, when regress are being calculated are not perfectly correlated with each other. For example, this is called multi-collinearity. We can say the multi-collinearity. When the regress are being calculated are not perfectly correlated. Nothing but when there is a correlation between the x1, x2, x3 variable, that is called independent variables, that are called collinearity problems. They are called multi-collinearity problems. So when we are following that, when you are following the blue properties, the assumptions of Gauss-Markov theorem, there should not be a correlation between the independent variables. That is the main assumption. See, that is non-collinearity or multi-collinearity also we can write it. The regressors are being calculated are not perfectly correlated. Nothing but there is no correlation between the independent variables or each other. In independent variables. Then third one, exogeneity. What is exogeneity? Here the regressors are not correlated with error terms. Exogeneity is nothing but the independent variables should not correlate with the error term. That is called exogeneity. Here the regressors are nothing but independent variable. That is called x1, x2, x3 variables. When you are writing a model, when you are writing an equation, y is equal to alpha 0 plus beta 1, beta 2, beta 3 like that. So the beta 1, beta 2, beta 3 are, that is the x1, x2, x3. That independent variables are not correlated with the error terms. That is called exogeneity. For example, sometimes they will have endogeneity. What is endogeneity? The regressant are not correlated with the error term. Sometimes the error term also correlated with the dependent variable. Dependent variables are called when there is a relationship between dependent variable and error term is called endogeneity. Endogeneity antaru. Okay. It is called endogeneity. So when following the Gauss-Markov theorem, the independent variables should not correlate with the error term. That is the one assumption. Then fourth one, homoscedasticity. Homoscedasticity. So here we have studied in the homoscedasticity about homoscedasticity in the assumptions of CLRM also. So no matter what values of our regressor might be, cannot bother about the values of regressors. But here one thing, homoscedasticity is errors of the variance is constant. So if the errors of the variance is not constant, we can violate the assumptions of Gauss-Markov theorem. So when you are doing that model OLS method, so the errors should be the variance of the errors is constant, or errors of the variances should be constant. We need to maintain that whatever the errors are there, that variance should be constant. Then only we will get blue property. Nothing but we have been follow the blue property. For example, if you follow that errors of the variance is constant, so we can get the blue properties. Nothing but we can get the good results. Then this fourth one is not important, but even though the random, our data must have been randomly sampled from the population. See, when we we are gathering some information from the population, so that should be randomly. We need to select a sample from the population. So here it is quite related to the cross-section data. Okay. Is it understood that what are the 5 Gus-Mark assumptions? Linearity, non-collinearity or multicollinearity, exogeneity, homoscedasticity, and random. Is it clear? Hello, dear students. Are you there? Next one. Here, we can come to know that properties of OLS. See, as I told you that what are the properties of OLS and Gas-Markov theorem. So, an OLS estimator is said to be blue. So, for simple, here Gas-Markov theorem is nothing but when the estimator was estimating the values by using OLS estimator, if he has followed the blue properties, the theory is called Gas-Markov theorem. Simple. So, we can come to know that what is blue? What is blue? Here, blue, first we need to understand best linear unbiased estimator. Blue stands for B for best, L for linear, U for unbiased, E for estimator or efficient estimator, we can say. So we can come to know that what is B. B is the best. So what is B is best? Here, when the standard error of the betas is minimum. For example, when you are estimating the coefficient values of a beta, so when we get that minimum standard error, that is called a best estimator. For example, when we are estimating that values of beta value, and we need to find out the standard of beta. For example, in order to test the t-test. So in order to test whether the particular variable is significant or insignificant, so we can write that in order to get the t values, t is equal to coefficient of beta divided by standard of b. When standard is minimum, we can get t values more. Nothing but the standard, if the standard value is less, we can get t value is high. Nothing but when we get more t value, which is more statistically significant. In that case, when the standard error of beta is minimum, that estimator is called best estimator. Best estimator. So generally in statistics, I am going to explain that what is best. Here, see, for example, if you attend an interview in a particular college, for example, A college, B college. For example, after they conduct the interview, so they can give the so after completion of the interview, you can ask that about your salary. So how much I can expect salary? For example, if you ask like that question from that corresponding people, for example, so they will say that the salary range from 10,000 to 35,000 in a college. After attending the interview, the college people will say that so the salary range from 10,000 to 35. Okay. So they didn't mention that your salary is 25,000 fixed. They didn't mention. Only they can mention that the salary range from 10,000 to 35. Nothing but so they may be give 10,000, they may be give 35,000. In between also they will give. That is a range. And if you attend another interview in another college, so after completion interview, they will say that the salary range from 20,000 to 35. Which one you can select? Which college you are going to select? Hello?
A college.
A college. So here, see, here they may be going to give 10,000, they may be going to 35,000. But whereas in B college, see 20,000 and 35,000, you need to choose this college because the range is very less. If they will give 20,000 also good. For example, they may not afford 20,000 here, the first college or A company or B company. In the salary range from 10,000 to 35,000. Nothing but they may be give 10,000 or 35,000. That's the minimum is 10,000, maximum 35,000. They may be give. But whereas in B company, they are offered that 20,000 to 35,000. You need to choose this B company. Generally.
B. Okay.
Yeah. When it comes to that standard deviation, standard error, see. So how we can find out the standard error? For example, before knowing the standard error, we need to find out the standard deviation. Standard deviation. See, when we
Deviation.
calculated these values, for example, if I collect information from the three persons, for example, their salary is 10,000 and 20,000, B company, A company, like this. So, for example, after collecting information, I calculated that the standard deviation is of A company 12,583, whereas B company 7,505. So, where the standard deviation is very less, here in the B companies, the standard deviation is very less. Think, but on average, the deviation is very less when one value to another value. The standard deviation is very less. And standard error, when it comes to the standard error, see, standard error. So here in the standard error of A company, very high compared with the B. Okay. Simple, we can come to know the standard error is nothing but the amount of variability, nothing but how much the variability is there from one to another. Nothing but 10,000 to 20,000, 20 to 35,000. Enta variation is an average. That is called average dispersion. Average dispersion from one person to another person, one person to another person. Then where standard error measures how far sample mean of data is likely to be from the true population mean. For example, here see how much is sample mean. That is how much is sample mean is very close to the true population mean. True population mean. So ఇక్కడ sample mean ko population mean ko how much is very close or how much is far away. Nothing but how much the difference between that the sample mean and population mean. So here we can get the standard is very less. So this is statistically I explained, but when it comes to the econometrics model, we can explain also by using that EViews or SPSS. So this is the best. For example, you can understand B for best when the estimator has got a minimum standard error value of the beta. That person is called best estimator. Clear? Then we will go with the L. That is a linear. So L for linear. What is linear? It is a linear, that is a linear function of a random variable. Linear function of a random variable such as the dependent variable y and the regression model. The power of alpha, beta 1 and beta 2 are always 1. The linear, nothing but when we are following that Gauss-Markov properties, we need to maintain the linearity in the parameter. Nothing but here y is equal to alpha beta 1 x1 beta 2 x2 plus dot plus beta 3 x3 plus error. So here the power value is equal to 1. Here power value is equal to 1. Here the 2 is nothing but under 2. So when we are maintaining that linearity, the estimator is called linear estimator. Clear? Nothing but we need to follow a linear function, not non-linear function. For example, sometimes we will use the non-linear functions when we have some required. For example, if you take into account when we are doing a cost analysis, so we will use the non-linear functions. So when we are using the non-linear functions, we cannot follow the Gauss-Markov property. That is the blue. Okay. So in order to follow the Gauss-Markov theorem or blue properties, we need to follow the linear function. That is called power value is equal to 1. Okay. So here beta 1 x1 beta 2 x2 plus beta 3 x3. Okay. There is no power. Nothing but so y is equal to alpha plus beta 1 x1 square. If it is square, that comes under the non-linear. Beta 2 x2 square, that comes under the non-linear. Okay. When we have followed the linearity in the parameters, that is called linear. Okay. Is it clear now? Yeah. Then third one, unbiased. What is unbiased? Generally, we can use that unbiased and biased. So generally, when we are watching some matches or cricket, some games, we can say that umpire is biased or umpire is not biased. So in our estimating, when you are doing estimates some values, so we can use a bias also. So in OLS model, the expected beta is equal to beta. For example, if you take into account, I already told you that expected beta is nothing but when you are estimating the beta value, see here, beta 1, beta 2 values, whatever we expect, if it is equal to the same, but if it is equal to a true population mean, or if it is equal to true population, that is called unbiased. That is called unbiased. For example, see, I am going to expect the rain will come by the 5 o'clock today, for example. That is my expected time, 5. If the rain falls at 5 o'clock, that is whatever I expected, beta is equal to the B. That is beta, sorry. The expected beta is equal to beta, it is called unbiased. Okay, so generally we can write in the mathematical form that the expected beta cap is equal to beta. That is, cap is nothing but estimated value of B and is equal to true beta value. For example, say, see, this is a true population, this is expected. For example, I expect that the rain will fall by the 5 p.m. today, for example, the 5 o'clock. I can write here 5. If rain falls at 5 o'clock, also 5 is equal to 5. Then whatever I expect time is 5. The rainfall exactly fall at 5 o'clock. That is matches. This is nothing but the expected beta is equal to beta. Okay. For example, say another example I am going to give you. For example, I expect time of come to the online class. I expect that 10:15. Those who came 10:15. For example, if I expect the time is 10:15, if all people join at 10:15, that is my expert time is 10:15 and your actual time is also 10:15. That is called unbiased. So my expectation is true. Okay. For example, my expectation is 10:15 only. But if you join at 10:20 or 10:25, that is called bias. Generally, I told you that most of the people will join by the 10:15. I told you that I given a statement. For example, if I get the results of most of the students join at 10:20, the 10:15 is not equal to 10:20. That is called bias. But my expectation is not true. That is called unbiased. Is it clear? Yeah. See, another an estimator is unbiased if it is bias is 0. When bias is 0, nothing but he has not maintained any bias. So we can say that estimator is unbiased if its bias is 0. Okay. Then the fourth one, estimator or efficient estimator. E for estimator. An estimate is the best when the smallest variance. Simple here, efficient estimate nothing but when the person who is estimating the some value, if he got the minimum variance or smallest variance as compared with the other estimates, so the person is called efficient estimator. Efficient estimator. It has minimum variance in the class of all such linear unbiased estimates. For example, see, when I calculate some values, for example, see, as I told you that if you take into account batsmen in a particular IPL match, for example, one person, another person, if you take 2 persons, for example, if you take Mumbai Indians, Rohit Sharma, and as well as Gill, for example, if you take, so who has maintained the minimum variance, the person is called good one. Okay, the person is a good one. But when we are estimating the values, those who can estimate the value, who has maintained the minimum variance, the person is called good estimator. So in a particular class also, when we are estimating, if you got minimum variance in the particular class, all of such linear unbiased estimator. And that unbiased estimator, the least variance is known as efficient estimator. Least is nothing but minimum, small is nothing but same. Small, least, and minimum are synonyms words. Nothing but those who can, who are the person who can estimate unbiased estimator with the least variance. For example, if the person has followed unbiased as well as he got minimum variance, the person is called efficient estimator. Nothing but that is called what is called on U and E. That is called if the person is unbiased and who has got least variance, the person is called efficient estimator. Efficient estimator. And the low variance is the most desirable when combined with small bias. For example, see, sometimes even though the low variance is the most desirable when combined with a small bias. When there is a small bias also we can ignore. But if there is a huge bias or if there is a huge variance between the expected beta is and beta value, so that is a bias. If, for example, the expected time is 110 to 15, but if you join 10 16, so there is a less bias. This is called a small bias. So we can say that 10 15 are more or less equal to 10 16. We can write like this. Okay. So if time if, within that points also, for example, if I expect a time is 10 15, if you then 10 15 30 seconds. So here we can say that 10 15 is more or less equal to 10 15 30 seconds. That is called small bias. And for example, here the failure of CLRM would be imply the omission of explanatory variables for which there can be no remedy expect correcting the specification. For example, when we are following the classical linear regression model, would we imply the omission of explanatory variables? For example, when we are omitting that explanatory variables for which they can no remedy expect correcting the specification. For example, sometimes when we got some problems, we need to omit some variables, nothing but we can delete some variables from the model also. For example, if there is a correlation between independent variables, we can remove some unimportant variable from the model. That is the one thing. And when certain Gauss-Markov theorem properties are followed, so there is a generalized least square is obtained by applying OLS to the model that satisfies the assumptions of CLRM. For example, see, when there is a expecting correcting the model of specification in the particular model, so we can go with the GLS model. GLS, that is called generalized least square. Now, instead of OLS, we can go for the GLS, generalized least square, is obtained by applying OLS to a model that satisfy the assumptions of CLRM. So sometimes the GLS can satisfy the assumptions of CLRM. Thus, according to the Gauss-Markov theorem, GLS must be efficient. So when compared with the OLS, the GLS is the most efficient compared with the OLS. So the GLS is must be efficient in the class of linear unbiased estimator. So what is GLS? We can come to know that. So the GLS, that is called generalized least square. So the GLS, generalized least square method model was first described by the Alexander Aitken in 1936. So GLS model was first time described by the Alexander Aitken. So in 1936, the equation of the generalized GLS model, that is y is equal to x beta plus error or epsilon. We can say that y is equal to dependent variable, x is nothing but vector of the parameter, nothing vector of the independent variables, plus error term. So generally in OLS, what we can write, y is equal to alpha plus beta 1 x1, beta 2 x2, beta 3 x2. So instead of beta 1, beta 2, beta 1 x1, beta 2 x2, here in the GLS model we can write x beta nothing but vector of independent variables. Vector of independent nothing but all the in matrix form we can get it vector of the independent variable. The first of these assumptions can be read as expected value of error term is 0. So when we are following the GLS method, we can expect that error term is 0. Nothing but generally in the assumptions of error term also, see, we can expect error term is 0. Nothing but, so when error term is 0, nothing but whatever we estimate the values, if the error value is equal to 0, is a good person. Nothing but is a good estimator. And the second assumption is collinearity, nothing but multicollinearity. The third is exogeneity, and the fourth is homoscedasticity. So whatever we discussed previously, that the error term is equal to 0, multicollinearity problem, and exogeneity and homoscedasticity. And when there is a certain degree of correlation between the residuals, for example, residual in the sense that is called error terms. When there is a correlation between the error terms in the regression model, in these cases, for example, when there is a error term is 0, when there is a multicollinearity problem, when there is exogeneity and homoscedasticity, when the error term is equal to 0, okay, in that case only we can in these cases OLS and weighted least square can be statistically inefficient, even gives misleading inferences. For example, when you are using this kind of thing, when there is a collinearity problem, when there is a heteroscedasticity problem, or in other problems of classical linear regression model. So even though when there is a problems, if we get the results or inferences, so the results will be give the misleading conclusions, or which will give the misleading inferences. So though the like that, the generalized least square is a technique for estimating unknown parameters in linear regression model. So when there are certain problems are there, so we can use the GLS square, that is called generalized least square, the technique for estimating the unknown parameters. And we can summarize the Gauss-Markov assumption succinctly in algebra. Is it that represent the generated by the OLS estimate is the best linear unbiased estimate. See, basically expected error term is equal to 0, and here are independent. Nothing but there is no correlation between the error term 1 and to the error terms 1 to 3 like that, and there is no correlation between that x1 and x2 variables and independent variables, and there should be a covariance between the two error terms, and the variance should be the constant. So these are the assumptions we need to follow when we are following the blue properties. So here, is it clear the class? Is it clear? Do you have any doubt? Hello? Sai Kiran and I think Maheshwari and Shivakumar and Supriya. Yeah, is it clear the class, or if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Hello?
Clear, sir.
Is it clear?
Clear, sir.
Okay. So before, okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. If you like this
Thank you, sir.
video, you can like it, and you can subscribe and share. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.